Open your flavor in your ear. I'm kicking new flavor in your ear. Just like
You in the blab, robotic kick the flab. My flavor be the batter, chitter chatter, madder than the Mad Hatter.
Bet your mash, come up better. Got the day to turn your body into matter.
Just like a piece of sizzling.
Fit inside my stomach with the edge and ridge between. The king is what I mean. What I mean. Man, get a cup and put some change inside your hand. Hold up.
Raheem is a pro, man. And I know one thing. If this brother wasn't in my life, we don't know what we would be doing, but I know I wouldn't be rocking that SRG and would have the opportunity to put out this record. So I always, when he around, when he not around, always thank him for that love and that energy that helped, that always helped my artistic career when I was like, man, I don't even feel like doing these daggone records no more. I'm a stage slayer. I can just go dolo. But good looking, man.
Yeah, all
And
good.
we get to get reunited back again, man.
Indeed,
I see
indeed.
with you and the sax, I see a tour that ain't, I don't know, man. Ain't nobody safe.
Ain't been done yet.
Ain't nobody's look. And that could be the name of the tour. Ain't nobody safe tour, because
Yeah,
I don't care if you open and I close or vice versa. Like
yeah.
what people are gonna get. You are first of all, you are animal performing, man. It is like it's a pleasure, and I watch you grow too. I watch you go from the major, but you always had that hustler mentality, man. So I mean, we didn't even start the interview yet, but I just wanted to. I thank your energy. I think people should understand that what you're delivering is actually could be free to them if they pay attention and listen. You drop a lot of industry knowledge, not from a symposium, but through your actions. If people can just look and see how you move, it could be a blessing to their own career, man. No stone unturned. You've always been hustling, but you never let your hustle get in the way of your musical integrity. So some people over hustle, and then the integrity of the music isn't there, and it's like you feel an unbalance where the dude is all over the place, but you need to go home and practice. Like for you, like the business acumen, the hustle, and the music is at such a dope high level, man. So kudos, man. Game recognized game when you see it, and that's why you were part of the Flavor in Your Ear reunion. When the pandemic came, it shut a lot of people down, and then I'm on the gram and on the internet, and it's almost like you stepped it up during the pandemic. So how did you survive, and what was the mindset during the pandemic?
Man, I just kind of felt, I guess, kind of right at home. I'm used to just being innovative and, making a way out of no way and kind of just, figuring it out as things go along. When they say when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So, yeah, it's a classic case scenario of that, you know, and it gave me an opportunity to stay locked in with my audience and to expand my audience and to give some people some something to do, and I guess like a
Yeah.
sense of escapism with all that was going on in the world at the time, and that is still currently going on. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I aspire to inspire. Um, Hopefully being an inspiration, um, not only to others, but it's motivational for me as well.
Man, you inspire me, and usually the triple OGs are like, yo, you got to go through your rites of, we go through a thing where, man, in order for you to inspire me, you got to go through the rites of passage. Nah, you a young brother who understands the game. So every time I see you, man, it's 100% inspirational. Now, we got some synergy because we rock with SRG. Shout out to the homie Claude out
Yeah.
there. You know, we can do a whole episode on what would Claude say.
Yeah.
We not even go there. But shout out to the homie Claude SRG. Um, you've been doing big things over there, and kind of like one of those legacy artists over there that really laid down the foundation. I had no idea SRG existed, and then when I saw the roster of you, Brian McKnight,
Yeah,
Gino
yeah,
Vanelli, Avant, Sean Stockman from Boys to Men. Vivian Green,
yeah.
Brave Williams. It's a deep roster, so I'm happy to be a part of it, man. So, what do you have in store? You always the next person to do the next thing before the next person does it. So, what
Uh,
what do you, what do you have in store coming up, man? Let us know new projects, film, you scoring. What's
yeah,
what's cracking.
that's great things happening right now. Most recently I just put out an album called Love Sick. Although it's not an SRG, release, it's they still fam, and we got future projects coming out. I still got projects coming out with Claude and them over there as well. Um, Love Sick was actually a project I recorded with a producer, Apollo Brown from Detroit, Michigan.
Apollo
Uh,
sick.
yeah,
Apollo
back
got yeah.
yeah, he like back 2017, 2018. You know what I mean? Like we kind of knocked out this album, and then the final tweaking of it and the mastering and mixing and just last minute shuffles of what records and stuff like that happened during the pandemic. We figured it would be a great time to kind of put the album out while people are still and chiming in. People got a little more time on their hands and looking for new music to absorb. That it would be a great time to put it out. This is my second album that I put out since November of 2020, in which I dropped "What a Time to Be in Love."
I love
Um,
that joint.
yeah,
That
thank
that
you.
that joint was crazy, and it. You always, when I listen to your albums, first of all, I listen to them from top to bottom, and you're not. You would have been an artist that would survive in the days where there were 8-track tapes and real albums, and it wasn't just singles, because when I listen to the project from top to bottom, I leave with a vibe. And when you're just focused on one song here and then you lose the integrity for there because you just want to fill the album, and then you give this one to Apple Music, that the title, and then you focus on single, then you lose the continuity that you need to feel from a person that's listening to the music from top to bottom. But every time I listen to something from you, it's from top to bottom, and I think I said, um, what vibe am I leaving with? Sometimes, I'd listen to an album from you and it's like, yo, it's time to go and make some love.
Yeah,
And then sometimes I'm like, I listen to you and it's like, yo, man, it's woke. It's time to, make sure that we got our business acumen straight so we can take over the world. So your messages are really extremely intentional and they flow through all of the records that you do, man. So thank you for that artistry. So what do you feel about the place the culture is in right now with us not really us doing more performing than owning? And what would you do to change that?
I think that the game is forever evolving. You know what I mean, and the evolution of the culture. You know what I mean. So as you get older, it becomes about ownership and 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 just naturally more control because you become knowledgeable and you attain more information as you go along. You know what I mean. So I'm all for it. Like um, as far as being a promoter, I'm like 50-50 with that. Like a lot of times, you know what I mean? Because it's promoters do what they do because they do what they do, just like the artists do what they do. You know what I mean? I'm more focused on like supporting like the black independent promoters. You know what I mean? Throughout the city, throughout the country, throughout the world,
Yes.
uh, that are helping keep our culture alive and definitely look into partnership with them on things too. You know what I mean? But I enjoy the fact of being able to, know that the crowd is sold out. Um, my needs of the writers been met. The bag is right. You know what I mean? The business is right, and people leaving there entertained and looking forward to next year and the year after that, when it comes to a lot of these festivals that that we've been booked for in the past and that we're on now, and they're coming our way in the near future too.
Music is like a ministry, and we've been from sports to we just came off of mental health awareness. Like as a minister and people that and I say musicians are ministers because we are soothing the soul. We're sending messages of empowerment, of love. With your musical legacy, what do you want most to be understood of who Raheem DeVaughn was and what his intention was in this business?
To motivate, to inspire, to be, to be the best you could be at what you do. To stay innovative and creative, to be a blueprint. You know, allow yourself to be a guinea pig for trial and error. For the culture and for and to be a catalyst. You know what I mean, to the culture of soul and R&B. And that's what I've strived to be and aspired to be. Day in, day out. Uh, I enjoy what I do thoroughly, and definitely working smarter and not as harder. These days. Right now I'm just kind of just like flooding the game with this great music. I feel like MJ in that game where he had the fever and kept busting the threes.
No, flu game MJ was no joke. Flu
Yeah,
game MJ fought
yeah,
through adversity to make it to still come out with a W.
yeah. I feel like I can't miss right now. In terms of creatively, man, it's a good space to be in. Currently right now doing, the focus right now is knocking out different projects with different producers and different artists and more kind of partnering up to do that. So, What a Time to Be in Love was the first project that I did with, one producer, the colleagues. Big shout out to KP and them.
Yes,
And
yes, they super dope too. Super
then,
dope.
and then, to follow up the Lovesick, with Lovesick, to follow up with Lovesick, just a few months later, with Apollo Brown and that record is getting a lot of, it's like,
Now it is. I saw you. Look, I saw your streaming numbers. I was like, whoa,
yeah, it moved. The album
that
is,
joint moved quick, didn't it?
yeah, within a week's time, it's like over 3 million plus streams on the entire album. You know what I mean? Had it for 4 million, so um, it's going extremely well. I had a theory that the more music I put out, not just music I put out, but great music, you got to put out. You know, that's equally fulfilling to what people are used to hearing. It's just really just about being consistent. That it'll have the algorithms jump in, and I start to see a lot of my analytics, the performance of them, triple and quadruple and stuff like that. So it's been great, man. A couple of features out there that I have as well. Shout out to Big Crit, who's gonna be re-releasing Returning Forever and
Yes.
a lot of his previous earlier mixtapes and stuff. So I got the Players Anthem joint should be back out again soon. Running up the numbers on the streaming side. Shout out to Bun B. We just did a record, My World, in the hip hop community. And it's some really cool independent hip hop things I got floating around. Shout out to my man Sky Zoo, uh, who just put out an album over the weekend. I'm on that and featured on that as well. So a lot of cool things, man.
Think of every artist, but I can only give you five. Think
Yeah.
of five artists that are most influential to you and your walk musically. Go.
Man, Prince,
One,
Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson,
three.
Jay-Z,
Yes, you got one more.
and I'm gonna go with Tupac.
Yo, Rod, I get up with you soon, man.
Yes,
Flavor
sir.
in Your Ear reunion,
Yes, sir.
November 4th through the 8th. Cabo Life Luxe Jazz Festival.
Boom.
Do not miss it.
At all.